Well, of course I don't know about you, but it's fast seeming that the government, or rather Rachel Reeves, is at it again. But just what is going on? Well, Rachel from accounts, shall we say, has apparently made the rental market tank faster than a lead balloon, all thanks to her tax raid on landlords, which, if anything, is probably doing the opposite of what she actually wants. I'm guessing she thought in her Labour brain somewhere that if she taxes people more, then more tax money will come in. However, what she's forgetting is if people sell up, then they won't be landlords anymore, and therefore they won't put money in by tax, will they? And I'm guessing that's what's just happening, because in August, a whopping 37% of landlords were so fed up they wanted out, according to the latest RICS survey. And let's face it, it's kind of the most gloomy number, kind of since we were all stuck at home back in April 2020. I mean, talk about landlords making a dash for the exit after Miss Reeves slapped on tax hikes in last year's budget. And not only that, she jacked up stamp duty surcharges as well for second homes, making it, of course, pricier for landlords to snag buy-to-let properties. And obviously there's bound to be people out there saying, oh no, those poor landlords. But what they're not thinking of is that if landlords aren't buying houses for people to live in, that will create some sort of supply and demand issue, whereas there's less supply and therefore more demand, and rents will be pushed up as a result. So if anything, by hurting the landlords, they are actually hurting tenants in the long run, in my opinion. And get this, if that wasn't enough, the Lumen Renters' Rights Bill is gearing up apparently to give tenants more clout, which obviously, before anyone has a bit of a pop in the comments, that at first might sound like a good thing. As a tenant, you got a bit more rights, but then like the tax hikes, it might make more landlords sell their properties, creating that supply and demand issue I was talking about a little while ago. But rumour has it, she's even eyeing up more taxes. Maybe even, who knows, slapping national insurance on rental income, which, let's face it, would be a horrible, horrible thought. And apparently with all his tax talks, rents are expected to decline, with 27% of folks saying that prices will rise in the next 3 months and about 3% across the country over the next year. And Tarrant Parsons from RICS says that the speculation about tax and rental income is just adding to landlords' woes. Already feeling the pinch from recent changes, is pushing more out of the market, cutting back on the rental supply and sending rents soaring. Meanwhile, of course, the property sales market isn't exactly looking too hot either, with new buyer inquiries dropping to a net balance of minus 17%, which of course is worse than the minus 7% from last month. So who knows how long all this is going to go on? Surely Rachel Reeves needs to follow Angela Rayner at the door, doesn't she? How can she possibly continue? No doubt she'll more than likely say, I'm trying to shake things up with plans to reform business rates, admitting that the UK economy is stuck. Well, thanks for that, Rachel. You're more the reason why it more than likely is stuck, in my opinion. She wants to iron out those creases, though, so don't worry with, unfortunately for us, pesky cliff edges that will scare small businesses from growing, surely. For instance, a local bakery would end up paying a fortune more just for opening up a small shop in the next village, which, if anything, is counterproductive in my opinion, because not only is that kind of hurting people for wanting to improve their income or opportunities, but also it's going to hurt people who fancy buying a sausage roll or whatever from the bakery, eh? And get this, Tim Martin from Wetherspoons even called out the sector's wildly excessive taxes. Helen Dickinson from the British Retail Consortium thinks that the reforms are a good start for some reason, but the big question is how the government plans to slash business rates for retail, hospitality and leisure. I don't know about you, but I personally don't think Rachel Reeves knows how to slash taxes. It appears that she only knows how to put them up, eh? Retailers apparently, though, they make up 5% of the economy, but cough up over 20% of the business rates bill. And until there is clarity on these changes expected in the budget, local jobs and store investments are on hold. But to be honest, I don't know about you, but it kind of makes me wonder what's next. And I hope I'm wrong, but I've got a feeling it's not going to be good for any of us. Unless, of course, you're an illegal boat person, then who knows, you've probably got no problem at all, eh? But I'm betting the rest of us will have.